Hey guys, welcome to Unbiased Rugby. So I'm just going to be doing the review of England versus Ireland. It played yesterday. I predicted that the game would be a lot closer than what it was, but I think it was a 40-something point drumming of Ireland. So England won that game 57-15. It was an absolute try fest from the England side. I haven't the foggiest clue what Ireland were doing. It just seemed like a completely off Ireland side. I know that this is probably their first big team that they've gone up against, and maybe next week it might be a little bit different. But yeah, that was an absolutely rampant English side that were just scoring from everywhere. The bounces were just in their favour. Everything just seemed to be favouring them. And all their players were really hard on the gain line. They were attacking really hard. I don't know what to say about Ireland. I'm just going to talk about some of the stats that I saw, because I was going through the stats for the game, and it's going to be quite strange when I point at some Irish players that I actually thought played quite well. It didn't look like they played well, but looking at the stats, they played extremely well. So run meters 458 to England 255. It's almost double run meters, and you can't win a game like that. I'm looking at turnovers conceded, 19 turnovers conceded by Ireland. You just cannot win a game with that many turnovers. Even defenders beaten 38-17, offloads 13-2, clean breaks 13-6. It literally was. It was two completely different sides that pitched up on the day. I was looking at the Irish side, and I couldn't understand their defensive line. Only South Africa plays with an outside-in defence, where the wingers come straight up from the side, and with the wingers coming up, they were coming up almost identically, and it happened every single time. And I was going, it had to have been they were told to do that, because it just seemed so strange. Because normally with that outside in defence, obviously the rush is quite intense. The outside comes in like this, but your 13s are also quite high up, so it creates that banana. It's like a banana defence. And Ireland weren't like that. So it was like this, and then that defence would come up, and then obviously that would create the overlap. And yeah, it was I thought it was a complete defensive nightmare from Ireland. If they carry on playing that kind of defence, I know the guy Jack Niebuhr, who came up with the defensive structure for South Africa, says it takes about 17 to 18 internationals to get to understand the defensive structure. And I don't know why they were doing it. Just maybe somebody can try comment on it, why they were trying that defensive structure, because it just didn't work. The other thing that I noticed that was absolutely atrocious was the pillar defence from Ireland. Because obviously your props are normally your pillar defence, and your big boys are outside the ruck. Mario Toji went through at one point. I think it was just off the pillar. There was another, I can't remember who went through the next time. But I did notice, because I was looking at that specifically, and straight through. Cian Healy missed, Tadhg Furlong missed, and where's the Ireland side from 2 years ago that beat New Zealand? That was the top team in the world. That team that played yesterday. There's big talk about obviously Ireland will probably win their pool. But if coming from that game yesterday, that wasn't. Look, I do a Wednesday show with two Irish guys, and I'm sure they're going to have lots to say about that game, because I was absolutely floored. I could not understand what Ireland were playing at. From the England point of view, that was an absolute dominant display from England, and I have to say I actually think England could get better from that. I think they took the foot off the gas. They took the foot off the jugular at about halfway. They didn't need to do much more. They just had to do a bit of defending, and they were still scoring tries. And yeah, so when I say England could get better, I really mean England could get better. I can't remember who commented about that. They weren't unsure about the loose trio balance from England. I really do like that loose trio balance. I know they got two. So you got to understand, in South Africa, an open side is our big player, and overseas is normally your fetcher. In South Africa, a blind side is normally your fetcher, but we just have to do things a little bit differently. So I get quite confused between the players. So having two fetchers on the field, like a Pocock and a Hooper, those kind of players, doesn't always work, but I really feel that Underhill and Curry bring they're completely different styles of player, and I'm sure Curry can be classified as a 6, So I think I like the loose trio balance, but I'd say the heartbeat of that English side is Mario Toji. The guy is absolutely phenomenal. When he is on song, he is probably bar none one of the best locks in the world. I'm going to do a show fairly soon on my favourite forwards currently playing, and he's from that showing. I have liked him for a long time. I like the way that he plays for Saracens. He's got that. He's a real smart rugby player. He understands when to put his hand in, when to slow it down, when the ref's looking, when to do something that is a bit suspect but still within the laws. Guy is absolutely smart. And when he did that break straight through, you could see him coming on speed, great ball handling skills, everything. The guy's the complete package. And for me, he's that heartbeat of the team. One little concern, I don't know about that 9. What's the 9's name? Ben Youngs? I think it's Ben Youngs. I'm just going to go to the next page here, guys, just so I've got it in front of me. Scrum off. Ben Youngs, yeah, I was correct. I didn't think he had such a great game. I thought he was quite average, and he's going to come up against some Aaron Smith, TJ Perinara, Faf de Klerk. He's going to come up against these kind of scrum offs. They're going to absolutely demolish him if he carries on playing like it. His passing was atrocious. It was too high. You could see most of the balls were taken a lot high, above the receiver's head, and that's literally 0.3, 0.4 of a second where things are off. That was the only weakness I saw on that side. That was it. Props played really well. I've never been a fan of Carl Sinclair. I think the guy suffers from the red mist, and he was the one that was calming everyone down yesterday. So maybe he's maturing a little bit. But yeah, for want of a better word, I thought that was a rampant England side. I feel for the Irish supporters, but trust me, I know what it's like to lose by 57 points. We were smashed by New Zealand twice, 57-0 and 57-14. So, I know exactly how it feels. But, we were smashed 57-0, and the following week we only lost by 1 point, 16-15 to New Zealand. So, things can change quite quickly. Things that need to change extremely fast is the defensive lines for Ireland. I don't know what they were trying. They were kicking the possession away, and they're not that kind of team. They normally play the phases. They should have gone back to the basics. Just play between the 2 5-meter lines, play the way that they feel the most comfortable, and that was it. And try to tire out England a bit, but they were giving possession back to England. England were just absolutely demolishing them. So but I'd like you guys to comment down below what you thought of the game. England playing like that, they could easily win the World Cup. I'm going to say that now. They literally could win the World Cup, and good on them. They are peaking at the right time. Who's the Tuilagi? Jeepers, he was good. I've just got the players in front of me here. Mana Tuilagi. He played really well. Kokoni Singer played extremely well. I think all the outside backs played really well for England. I'm still not 100% sold on the 10-12 split, having your 2 playmakers at that. But they played really well. I'm just trying to see if when they come up against a really, really strong defence or a big number 12 that can really disrupt that line, maybe like a Lamapi or maybe a Damon Delende, just to see how that defensive line will be, because I think England have got some devastating centres. And what else can I say? Not much more I can say. It has to be back to the drawing board for Ireland. Ireland have got some serious issues at the moment, but maybe it was nerves. Let's try. Let's see what happens next week. If they get demolished again next week, then we know that it's danger zone. It real is danger zone for Ireland then. Stand up. You won't believe me on this, but the 2 standout players for me for Ireland were probably CJ Stander and Josh van der Vliet. They had 15 tackles. I think 1 or 2 missed tackles. No turnovers conceded. And for a defense, that's not too bad. They were the only 2 players that had double-figure defense. If I keep bouncing forward, guys, I'll try to keep the stats in front of me. Defending. Yeah, they were the only 2 players that double-digit defense. And it didn't look like it because I saw Josh Sander-Flair every now and again, and I saw CJ Sander maybe once or twice. He didn't give what he normally gives, like his runs and stuff like that. Because on attacking, Sander, it's only 3 runs, 11 meters, so it was not great. But very few players actually had double. Maybe Stockdale, Aki, Ringrose. They were the only ones that had double figures. But do you expect the guys to have double figures? But on the other side, you got double figures for Sinclair, Toji, Curry, Underhill, Billy Vinipola, Sam Underhill. Oh, I already said Underhill. So yeah, I know I'm harping on about this a little bit, but something's going to have to happen drastically in this next week. They really have to figure out that defensive line, because that's the only way. I don't see Ireland having the. I'm not saying they don't have the skills. I'm saying they just don't have the same kind of game plans, because we're looking at the way the Lions, the Englands were playing. They were literally creating the overlap from nothing, because the defensive line was so narrow, bunched together, loop around, and then they created the extra space. And then there were 2 tries that came from that exact same move. And scramble defense was atrocious, and the wings were coming from outside. And that was what I picked up from the game. If the defensive line was a lot more aggressive, the pillars were quite strong, I think it would have been a completely different game. Listen, guys, please put your opinions down below of what you thought of the game, where you think Ireland should be improving. Do you think England are peaking at the exact right time? I think they are. I think they're an absolutely devastating side, and from that kind of performance yesterday, they could absolutely easily win the World Cup in Japan. Listen, guys, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week. Chat soon. Cheers. Bye.